Welcome back to another video on RIP News. Over the past 24 hours, the world has bid farewell to some truly extraordinary individuals. Today, we pause to remember their lives, honor their memories, and reflect on the legacies they leave behind. If their stories have touched your heart, we humbly ask you to show your support by liking this video, a small gesture of respect for lives that meant so much to so many. Thank you for being here. Some talents don't scream for your attention, they pull you in quietly, like a whisper in a crowded room. She wasn't the loudest star in the sky, but she was the one you never forgot. You may not have always known her name, but every time she appeared on screen, something shifted. Her expressions, her voice, her timing, so subtle, so precise, so powerful. Behind the charm and grace of her characters was a woman who spent decades mastering her craft, navigating an industry that often overlooks women like her. This is the story of Valerie Mahaffey, an actress of quiet strength, sharp wit, and unwavering dedication. Valerie Mahaffey was born on June 16, 1953, in Sumatra, Indonesia, to an American family stationed abroad. Her father worked in the oil business, and the family moved often, eventually settling in Texas. From an early age, Valerie stood apart, not for being loud or showy, but for her observant, intelligent demeanor. She was the type of child who didn't just watch movies, she studied them. She listened to the pauses between lines, the gestures behind the words. After graduating from high school in Austin, she pursued her love for acting at the University of Texas, earning a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drama. But Valerie didn't arrive in Hollywood with a red carpet waiting. She climbed her way through the theater world, learning how to build characters from the ground up, how to blend emotion with comedy, and how to find dignity even in roles others might overlook. She began her professional career on stage, appearing in numerous productions in regional theaters across the U.S. before making her way to television. Her early years were filled with small guest roles, each one approached with the same integrity as a leading part. She had no shortcuts, no scandals, no golden ticket, just raw talent and a work ethic that refused to break. In the 1980s, Valerie started gaining attention for her work in soap operas, particularly her role as Olivia Emerson in The Doctors. But it was in the 1990s that her brilliance began to bloom in full view. Her unforgettable turn as the quirky and enigmatic Eve in Northern Exposure won her the * Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series in 1992. The performance was layered, equal parts comedic genius and emotional depth. And suddenly, the industry started paying attention. Still, Mahaffey never chased fame. She chased range. She could do satire and tragedy, lighthearted charm and unsettling intensity. She appeared in shows like Desperate Housewives, Frasier, Ally McBeal, Seinfeld, and ER, each time vanishing into the role with haunting precision. She had the rare gift of making the audience laugh and feel uneasy in the same breath. Despite her success, Valerie faced an ongoing challenge in an industry obsessed with youth and beauty. She wasn't a conventional leading lady, and Hollywood isn't always kind to women who refuse to be boxed in. But she never allowed those limitations to stop her. Instead, she used them. She leaned into the characters others were too afraid to touch. She embraced the strange, the elegant, the morally gray. And she turned them into gold. In recent years, her work has reached a new generation through films like French Exit, opposite Michelle Pfeiffer. Valerie's performance as a hilariously bizarre yet deeply human socialite earned her widespread critical acclaim, including an Independent Spirit Award nomination and glowing reviews from the New York Times and Variety. After decades in the business, she was being hailed as one of the most underappreciated actresses of her generation. But perhaps Valerie's greatest achievement isn't just in awards or recognition, it's in her consistency. She built a career that defied trends, avoided tabloid drama, and stood on the shoulders of pure ability. She raised a family, mentored young actors, and continued to work into her later years, always with class, always with care. She's one of those rare performers whose absence is felt when she's not on screen, and whose presence elevates everyone around her. Valerie Mahaffey may not have always been the headline, but she was always the heartbeat. She once said in an interview, "You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to say something worth listening to." And she did. Over and over again. So here's to the woman who turned quiet roles into unforgettable moments. To the artist who never gave in to the pressure of fame. To Valerie Mahaffey, a master of nuance, a queen of the unexpected, and a legend in the art of restraint. But don't go anywhere, because up next, we unravel the story of another actress who, like Valerie, found strength in subtlety and success in silence. One whose path through Hollywood was just as remarkable, and just as human. What happens to a child who grew up in front of the camera, but disappeared before the curtain ever fell? She was once the darling of Hollywood's golden age, a child star with eyes that sparkled brighter than the studio lights. Audiences adored her. Directors admired her. But just as quickly as she rose, she chose to walk away, leaving behind not a scandal, but a mystery. This is the story of Cora Sue Collins, the little girl who lit up the screen, and then chose a different life. Cora Sue Collins was born on April 19, 1927, in Beckley, West Virginia. Her family moved to Los Angeles when she was very young, and by the time she was just 5 years old, Cora Sue had landed her first acting job. She didn't dream of being a star. Hollywood found her. And once it did, she became one of the busiest and most beloved child actresses of the 1930s. She appeared in over 30 films before she was even a teenager, sharing the screen with legends like Greta Garbo, Lionel Barrymore, Clark Gable, and Marie Dressler. In a time when child actors were often typecast or forgotten, Cora Sue stood out. She had range, presence, and emotional intelligence far beyond her years. She could make you laugh one minute and cry the next. In 1932, she captured hearts in Smilin' Through, and later shined in films like Queen Christina, 1933, where she played young Christina opposite Greta Garbo, and Anna Karenina, 1935. She was also memorable in Imitation of Life and All This, and Heaven too. Her performances weren't gimmicks. They were real. But behind the studio gloss, life wasn't easy. The pressures of being a child in Hollywood were immense. Long hours, public scrutiny, and a demand for constant perfection took a toll on her spirit. While other kids played outside, Cora Sue was memorizing lines, hitting her marks, and living under the watchful eyes of producers and press. She struggled with the weight of early fame and the expectations that came with it. Like many young stars, she wasn't given much control over her own life. She was loved by millions, but rarely asked what she wanted. As she entered her teen years, Cora Sue found it harder to transition into adult roles. The industry that once celebrated her began to overlook her. Hollywood had moved on. But instead of fighting to stay relevant, she made a bold choice: she stepped away. Unlike many child stars who tried to recapture the spotlight, Cora Sue walked away with dignity, choosing to live a private life. She left the industry in 1945, just 18 years old. That decision wasn't a defeat. It was her first real act of independence. She went on to live a full life beyond the screen. Though details of her private life remained largely out of the public eye, Cora Sue later reflected on her time in Hollywood with honesty and gratitude. She spoke out about the unique pressures child actors face and became a quiet but powerful advocate for remembering and respecting the contributions of early film performers. Her interviews in later years showed wisdom, humor, and humility. She acknowledged the joy of her early career while also shedding light on the emotional challenges behind the fame. In her 90s, Cora Sue became a treasured guest at classic film festivals and Hollywood events, where audiences, many now older than she was when she starred in films, welcomed her with standing ovations. She never chased the spotlight again. but it still found her. Her story is one of quiet resilience. Of growing up too fast, and still finding a way to reclaim life on her own terms. She may not have collected Oscars or headline box offices as an adult, but her legacy is just as lasting. Every time we revisit the golden age of cinema, her youthful face reminds us of a time when Hollywood was a dream factory, and she was one of its brightest stars. Cora Sue Collins proved that walking away can be just as brave as staying in the game. She taught us that success isn't always about longevity, it's about impact. And that sometimes, the most beautiful stories are the ones that end quietly, with grace. But don't go anywhere, because next, we'll uncover the fascinating journey of another forgotten gem of Hollywood, a life full of struggle, strength, and stunning reinvention. Stay tuned.